Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of sources, research, and expert insights and really just boil them down to the essential, actionable knowledge you need.
And today our mission is to deep dive into, well, our most profound asset.
The brain.
The brain. It's the engine of your entire existence. Every thought, every feeling, your capacity for connection, your ability to plan for the future.
It all starts there.
It all starts with a healthy brain. And our goal today is to give you the blueprint for cognitive optimization so you can live a truly, truly meaningful life.
I remember seeing my own brain scan for the first time, and it was a genuinely startling moment. Suddenly, that sort of conceptual ball of tofu in your skull becomes real, concrete. It was the absolute push I needed to start connecting my daily decisions to the physical reality of that organ.
And that's our focus. We're synthesizing the consensus from the world's leading experts on exactly how to make that brain super healthy, big, fat, and fluffy.
I love that. So where do we start?
We start with the foundation.
What?
The one thing everyone knows is important, but few truly understand the mechanism of movement.
Right. We're always told exercise is critical, but if we really dig into the biochemistry, what kind of exercise actually moves the needle the most for, pure cognitive gain? It can't just be lifting heavy things.
You're absolutely right to dig deeper. While all movement is, of course, better than none, the research points overwhelmingly to one thing.
And that is?
Aerobic activity. Anything that gets your heart rate up. We're talking about power walking, playing soccer, a spin class, running.
So why is that aerobic state the magic bullet for the brain? What's happening inside?
It's because the mechanism is biochemical. It's not just about muscles. Aerobic activity maximally releases a specific growth factor.
A growth factor.
Exactly. And it's able to cross the blood-brain barrier and target the hippocampus, which is your brain's primary memory center.
And what does it do there?
It literally stimulates neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells. So exercise isn't just about fitness. It's a biochemical delivery system.
Okay, so we're turning movement into maximum growth factor release. What about someone who's, let's say, low fit right now? What's the minimum investment to see real, tangible changes?
The barrier to entry is surprisingly low.
Yeah.
I mean, studies tracking low-fit individuals, people who are basically sedentary, found that just 45 minutes of aerobic activity, 2 to 3 times a week.
That's it.
That was enough. They saw significant improvements. We're talking measurable changes in mood, memory function, and the ability to shift and focus attention.
That's a massive payoff for less than 3 hours a week.
A huge payoff.
So that's incredibly motivating for people starting out. But what about those of us who already have a regular routine? Is there a point where the returns diminish?
It's actually quite the opposite, according to the data. The finding was, and I quote, "Every drop of sweat counted."
Wow.
Researchers noted that the more people exercised, up to 7 times a week, the more changes were recorded in hippocampal function, prefrontal function, and overall mood.
So a single workout could, in theory, change how you show up in the world, like immediately.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've seen high-profile speakers, like Tony Robbins, literally jumping on a trampoline right before walking on stage.
Right. I've seen that too. Is that just theater, or is there a real scientific reason for it?
Oh, it's absolutely scientific. Moving your body creates 3 immediate powerful effects. First, you get a significant mood boost, a quick release of dopamine, serotonin, and noradrenaline.
And the second?
Focus and attention. That dopamine makes the prefrontal cortex, your seat of executive function, work better.
So you literally think clearer and sharper right when you need to perform.
Exactly. And the third effect is a significantly shorter reaction time. You just become quicker, more responsive. It's a fantastic natural hack.
Okay, if we're talking about performance boosters, we have to talk about coffee.
Of course.
Is caffeine a real cognitive asset, or is it more of an emergency crutch that often leads to overstimulation?
It's a tool. And like any tool, the dose makes the poison. Caffeine is a great stimulant, but overstimulation is detrimental. It leads to jitters, racing thoughts.
Which is terrible for trying to speak coherently.
Right, it harms your ability to put complex words together.
This is where that idea of self-experimentation comes in then.
Precisely. You have to titrate the dose. For some people, 1 cup is perfect. For others, even a half cup is just too much.
For those trying to avoid caffeine, is there an alternative stimulant? Something that gives you that natural wake-up call?
Hot-cold contrast showers. The cold dousing forces your body to react, stimulating a natural release of adrenaline.
A huge mood boost.
A significant one, and a feeling of alertness.
I have tried those cold plunges, and for the first 30 seconds, it feels less like a cognitive boost and more like I'm trying to escape a crime scene.
I get it. But how long do you really need to be under the cold?
That's my question.
Even just 30 to 60 seconds of cold water is usually enough to trigger that response. It's the shock that does it. People start for the physical feeling, and then they notice the mood and alertness boost that carries them through the morning.
Okay, so we've covered building a better brain with movement. But what happens when we actively work against that health? Let's flip the coin. What are the behaviors that actively destroy cognitive function?
The two biggest destroyers are, well, sedentary behavior, which we just covered, and the failure to prioritize sleep.
Sleep.
Sleep is not a luxury. It is non-negotiable. I mean, in extreme situations like torture, prolonged sleep deprivation literally leads to death. It's that fundamental.
Why does the brain crash so hard without it? What are the essential functions it's providing?
Well, the first is memory consolidation. When you get enough sleep, the hippocampus replays the day's events, strengthening the connections that form memories.
So if you shortchange your sleep,
You inhibit the actual physical process of turning experiences into knowledge.
which means pulling an all-nighter to study, is literally undermining the effort you just put in.
You are. And the second function is the brain's unique cleanup system. Sleep is when your cerebral spinal fluid flows through, washing the brain and clearing out garbage metabolites.
The biological cell waste.
Exactly. If you don't sleep enough, these waste products build up, creating what we call a gunky brain. It leads to brain fog, inflammation.
That perfectly describes how I feel after bad sleep. Okay, let's transition from sleep to diet. What's the consensus on food for brain longevity?
The diet with the overwhelming amount of evidence is the Mediterranean diet.
No surprise there.
Right. It's all about colorful, non-processed foods, high in fiber, healthy fats, antioxidants. It reduces inflammation across the entire body, including the brain. The simple rule is, if it's too processed, limit it drastically.
So we're talking about deeply colored vegetables, fish high in omega-3s, good quality olive oil.
Precisely. These are the compounds that feed the neurons.
Okay, let's move to another potential destroyer, social isolation. This has become a huge crisis. Does loneliness actually cause measurable damage to the brain?
Categorically, yes. We are fundamentally social creatures. Loneliness causes a state of chronic low-grade stress. And this long-term stress, it damages the brain. It makes it smaller and less healthy over time.
That makes me think of that huge Harvard study.
The 80-year Harvard study of adult development, yes. It found that the single greatest predictor of happiness and a long life wasn't money or status.
It was the strength of your social connections.
The strength of your social connections. And it's not just close friends. Longevity is correlated with the number of connections. Even just greeting the barista or nodding to a neighbor.
It's the consistency of connection.
That's what protects the brain.
Let's transition to something that I'll admit has surprised me greatly in the research. Creatine.
Ah, yeah.
My brain still instantly labels it as a gym bro thing used purely for getting swole.
I completely understand that association. For decades, its utility was just linked to muscles. Our bodies make 1 to 3 grams a day, mostly in the liver and brain, but
But the effects on the brain under stress are what's fascinating.
truly fascinating.
So what are the established physical benefits that made it popular in the first place?
It's all about energy acceleration. Creatine is stored as phosphocreatine, and it's used to regenerate ATP, our cellular energy, really quickly.
So you can push out 1 or 2 more reps.
1 or 2 more reps, and it decreases recovery time. But remember, it requires resistance training. The supplement alone doesn't grow the muscle.
So if the brain consumes a massive amount of energy, especially when we're learning or stressed, how does creatine help with cognition?
The brain does make its own, but supplementing really allows the brain to shine under high cognitive demand.
What kind of demand?
It could be lack of sleep, intense emotional pressure, depression, or just wrestling with complex concepts. Creatine acts like a fuel buffer.
But if the muscles are so good at soaking up creatine, how do we make sure any of it actually gets to the brain?
This is the breakthrough from the German dosing studies. The typical 5 grams a day is consumed almost entirely by muscles,
Right.
but the studies found that once you hit 10 grams a day or higher, the creatine starts to spill over into the brain.
10 grams. So double the typical gym dose. That's a game changer for people under chronic stress. What are the common side effects people need to be aware of at that dose?
That's a critical question. The primary side effects are usually gastrointestinal. stomach upset, maybe diarrhea, especially if you take it all at once.
So you split the dose.
Split the dose or mix it with food. There's also some initial water retention, which is why people feel bloated, but that stabilizes quickly.
And the studies on sleep deprivation are just wild.
They're the most compelling. One trial found that 25 to 30 grams of creatine completely negated the cognitive deficits of 21 hours of sleep deprivation.
It made them function better.
Better than if they'd been well rested but unsupplemented. So if you're facing jet lag, a huge exam, a long travel day, this acute higher dose can be a strategic tool.
And since creatine is mostly in animal products, does that mean vegans and vegetarians see an even bigger benefit?
Absolutely. For those who consume no meat or fish, supplementing really helps. They often report a huge increase in energy.
One last question on this. The loading phase. Take 20 grams, then maintain 5. Is that necessary for the cognitive boost?
That loading is for quick muscular saturation. For the brain, the key is just getting above that 5-gram muscle threshold so the excess can spill over. The speed isn't as critical as the dosage.
Okay, let's transition to maybe the most liberating concept in all of neuroscience. Neuroplasticity. Can we really change who we are as adults? Can we truly unlearn traumatic patterns?
The answer is an absolute categorical yes. You can unlearn patterns and reorder neural connections at any age. That identity you think you're stuck with, it's not permanent.
That is so inspiring, but it feels so hard as an adult. What's the rule book for change after, say, age 25?
Before 25, passive experience shapes the brain. After that, change requires a marked shift in the neurochemical environment.
And what does that mean exactly?
It means you have to be two things:
Okay.
alert and focused.
Yeah.
You can't just learn passively anymore, like playing a lecture in the background.
So you have to actively pay attention. That releases the right chemicals.
Correct. Attention is the key. It releases catecholamines, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, which increase alertness. This stimulus sets the process in motion, but the actual rewiring, the consolidation, happens later, during sleep.
You also noted that fear can create an immediate shift.
Yes, the nervous system changes when it needs to keep you safe, but we can absolutely harness positive stimuli too. Love, excitement, appreciation. They can all drive change.
Okay, let's connect this idea of optimization to the physical architecture of the brain, the vascular system. You introduced a foundational molecule for health, nitric oxide, or NO.
Nitric oxide is a simple signaling gas, but it is foundational for every aspect of health. It's produced in the lining of your blood vessels, and its main job is to regulate blood flow and oxygen delivery.
It dilates the vessels.
It allows more blood to flow, which mobilizes stem cells and optimizes tissue function.
And the scary part is that NO levels drop dramatically after we turn 20, so what happens when we're deficient?
When NO levels drop, the blood vessels constrict. This leads to stiff arteries, high blood pressure, inflammation. It's the root cause of so many chronic diseases. Erectile dysfunction, for example, is often seen as a localized symptom of systemic nitric oxide loss.
And the link to cognitive decline is direct because the brain is so vascular.
Absolutely. Alzheimer's is fundamentally a vascular disease. When you improve NO, you improve blood flow, glucose uptake, and reduce inflammation. It corrects nearly every physiological root cause of cognitive decline.
That's a terrifying thought, that my morning pastry isn't just spiking my energy, it's actively gumming up the arteries leading to my brain.
It's a powerful motivator.
Given its importance, what is the #1 dietary destroyer of nitric oxide that we have to avoid?
Sugar and high glycemic index foods. Sugar is physiologically a toxin. It acts like glue, sticking to proteins and enzymes, which lowers NO production.
And it gets worse.
It gets worse. It also destroys the oral microbiome,
Hmm.
which is absolutely key to the body's ability to recycle and generate nitric oxide.
Wow. Okay, let's finish with some daily actionable hacks that boost our brain function based on all this. Let's start with coordination exercises.
Yes. Activities like pickleball or paddle tennis are fantastic because working the cerebellum, your coordination center, also activates your frontal lobes.
Better executive function.
The more coordination you develop, the better your cognitive capacity.
And if we combine movement with new learning, we get that double whammy effect.
Precisely. We call this learning in motion. Memorization games on a stationary bike, a language app while walking quickly. That activity increases blood flow to the hippocampus and dramatically strengthens memory.
What about a simple meditation technique for calming the emotional brain?
Kirtan Kriya. It's a Kundalini yoga meditation, just 12 minutes. You cycle through phases, loud chanting, whispering, silent, then back down.
It works.
Studies show that after just 8 weeks, People's resting frontal lobe function was stronger, and it calmed the hyperactivity of the emotional centers.
And for someone in acute stress, on the verge of a panic attack, is there a breathing technique for that?
There is the 15-second breath. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 1.5, breathe out for 8 seconds, hold for 1.5.
So the out breath is twice as long.
Breathing out for twice as long as you breathe in rapidly shifts the nervous system from fight or flight to rest and digest. It helps break the panic cycle.
Let's talk about the work environment. We know toxic workplaces are bad, but what if you love your job, but you're doing the same tasks year after year? Is stagnation a risk?
Stagnation is definitely bad for the brain. If you aren't learning anything new, you have a higher risk of Alzheimer's because you're not demanding those neuroplastic changes.
And toxic people?
Dangerous. Chronic stress increases cortisol, and sustained high cortisol actively shrinks the hippocampus. It damages your memory.
Finally, let's talk about natural remedies. What plant-based items have strong evidence?
3 stand out. First, green tea. It's rich in polyphenols. Regular consumption is linked to improved cognitive function, memory, attention accuracy.
Okay, green tea. What's next?
Rosemary. When you inhale its volatile oils, they go directly into the brain's olfactory lobe. Shakespeare referenced it for remembrance, and clinical studies show inhaling the oils may improve short-term cognitive performance.
And the last one, the one everyone wants to hear about, chocolate.
Yes, dark chocolate. Specifically, 75% cacao or higher. Eating 50 to 100 grams is truly a medicine. It's known as a heart medicine for a reason.
It improves circulation.
It causes beneficial changes in blood flow within minutes, enhancing circulation not just to the heart, but to the brain as well. Just keep the sugar low.
This has been, it provides immense hope. The core finding from neuroplasticity bears repeating.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're 90 years old, you can change your brain for the better.
By applying focus, alertness, and adequate rest, the game really is maximizing your cognitive baseline right now.
That baseline is everything, because the healthier your brain is today, the better prepared it is for the challenges of aging. So, to leave you with one final provocative thought. Considering how much the brain thrives on effort and new learning, we have to look at the world we are heading into, the world of artificial intelligence. If AI is designed to take over complex tasks for us, removing cognitive demand, removing effort, what is the short-term danger?
That removal of cognitive demand is a serious concern. In the short run, AI might actually be bad for the brain. It will prompt your brain to do less work. If we let these tools steal our brain development by removing the need for effortful thought, we are actively working against the laws of neuroplasticity.
So the challenge for all of us
Is learning how to use AI to enhance, not diminish, our need to learn, think, and struggle with complexity.